So Tina and Michelle over at Sussex Squad podcast did an amazing impromptu panel, which you need to go and listen to if you haven't already. I will put the link in the description box to the video. They interviewed Christopher Boozy, who is the CEO of Bot Sentinel, botsentinel.com, which tracks bot activity on Twitter and also helps to identify accounts that could be bots. It's a great tool if you regularly use Twitter. Bot Sentinel is an independent platform and they do not have any affiliation with the Sussexes. And I'm just wondering why, if a normal person can create something like this, I want to know where Twitter is with this type of action. Christopher himself is a black man and he spoke during the panel about how black women are often targeted in a completely different way on social media in terms of harassment and abuse. And it really speaks to why it's important to have diversity in the top positions of these big tech corporations, because despite the fact that people like Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, claim to be very progressive, they're not really answering to the calls of the most targeted and marginalized groups. But the truth of the matter is that they have little incentive to, because hate drives more traffic, therefore more profit. Now, I have long suspected that it was really just a handful of accounts who were responsible for the large amount of hate that Meghan was getting, and this has been proven right. And those accounts have been amplified with the help of various journalists within the British tabloid press who have amplified their hate and narratives. So in the panel with Tina and Michelle, Professor Maynard was also on that panel, and they spoke at length about the ongoing issues with harassment on social media, how we balance erasing hate without erasing freedom of speech, and also highlighted the Bot Sentinel report. If you have not read this report, you need to, because it's pretty damning, and it does mention by name and go into quite a bit of depth the activities of some royal rota rodent reporters. So here's a piece from the report itself. During our initial investigation into Twitter hate accounts targeting Meghan and Harry, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, we observed an unusual number of hate accounts interacting with journalists and royal commentators who are frequently cited in the media as royal experts. The hate accounts we monitored appeared to follow and interact with certain prominent Twitter accounts that primarily cover the royal family. Moreover, several prominent Twitter accounts covering the royal family followed some of the more active and well-known hate accounts. Because of the unusual relationship between accounts, we expanded our investigation to include the interactions between hate accounts and royal experts. After careful analysis, we determined 9 out of 10 prominent Twitter accounts that primarily cover the royal family, in fact, had interacted with at least one of the 84 hate accounts we were monitoring. On at least one occasion, we could link a conspiracy theory shared by a well-known hate account to an award-winning journalist and author who then amplified the conspiracy theory on Twitter and TV. So in other words, the hater accounts and royal rodent reporters seem to be feeding each other, and the reporters often take what the hater accounts say and amplify that in wider media. Now in the report, they looked at a very small sample of accounts, but I really want for someone to give them funding to do a much bigger and wide-reaching report. I'm even wondering if Harry and Meghan have their own team doing something similar, given they're doing so much to counter misinformation. I would be very surprised if they don't have their own team working on something like this. If you remember, during the Rewired discussion, Harry actually said that the term Megxit originated from an online troll and that was then amplified by the media. So obviously they are well aware that this is happening. The report then goes on to focus primarily on the following royal rodent reporters. Some of these names you should probably know if you've been in the squad for a while: Angela Levin, Emily Andrews, Richard Fitzwilliams, Ingrid Stewart, Dickie Donkey Sanctuary Arbiter, Richard Palmer, Rob Jobson, and Victoria Arbiter. Now, 5 of those individuals were actually caught lying in a YouTube prank where they gave opinions about the Oprah interview before they'd even watched it. Despite this, these royal rodents continue to be invited to talk on different TV shows and podcasts. Angela Levin in particular has positioned herself as some kind of expert on Harry, and as early as a few weeks ago, she was featured in one of those poorly made 60-minute features. 60 Minutes is an Australian show that focuses on shock value stories and documentaries, but they're always kind of poorly made. And this woman was speaking like she knew Harry. Levin herself has actually admitted that her mother was an awful person. So to me, she just seems like someone who wants to project her traumas onto others, and misery loves company. So here she is trying to make Harry and Meghan's life miserable, but failing because I think she's just mostly going ignored. And there is an additional part of report that actually focuses on the interactions of Angela Levin and Richard Fitzwilliams and how they interact with hater accounts, including liking and retweeting messages from those accounts. Here is one tweet that Richard retweeted comparing Archie to a monster-looking person. It is a joke that these people call themselves journalists. They are nothing but bullies, and mainstream media outlets need to stop giving them clout by having them on. Completely unrelated to the report itself, but I did some digging of my own and came across this little gem from Emily Andrews giving her seal of approval to Jason Knuth. All of these royal rodents knew what was going on behind the scenes, and they were egging it on through their crony reporting. So let me know what you think of the report, what shady things you've seen royal reporters doing online. I honestly feel like there is something in the wind, that something is going to come next year that's gonna shock everyone. So let's brace ourselves, squaddies, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.